Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. I hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So what to talk about in this video. Let's take a time machine to November 2024. We would have had to play a season. And next year's or this year's market for free agents is going to be much, much better than what it was this past offseason. It was a disaster with the free agents. Mediocrity, old, just a lot of garbage. Nothing good. Next year, totally different story. Guys like Corbin Burns is going to be on the market. Possibly Zach Wheeler is going to be on the market. Walker Buehler could be on the market. Bunch of guys going to be on the market. Two guys, as you know, is going to be Pete Alonso, plays for the Mets, as you know, and Juan Soto, who's now currently playing for the Yankees. Now, he's been bounced around now over the last 3 years. He was originally with the Washington Nationals. He was there for quite a few years. And the shocking thing was that the Nationals actually moved him at the 22 trading deadline, and he spent the last year and a half with the San Diego Padres. He did not, from what the rumor was, he did not have a good experience there. That's not a great clubhouse. It's a very immature clubhouse. And this is a guy that has won, and he's done a lot of big things in the game. And he just didn't, it seemed like, we always hear about how guys are West Coast guys, but it seems like Soto's more of an East Coast guy. Now, I think that he's going to have a really big year for the Yankees. He's going to hit 40 home runs and drive 100 runs and hit 330. I think he's going to have a huge year. There in that bandbox known as Yankee Stadium. But I think he's going to have just a good year overall for them because he's at 26 years old. He's at the beginning of his prime. It's funny, you figure he's much older because he's been around for the last 6 years, but he's much younger than people think. But his agent, so you know, Scott Boras, as well as for Pete Alonso. I got an article for you, and this is from SNY.TV. Headline, it's not too early for baseball people to expect a Yankees-Mets competition for Juan Soto. And it's written by, let's see who this is written by little Andy Martino. Juan Soto arrived at George M. reporting for duty as the shiny new star for the New York team. Will we be uttering the same sentence 12 months from now, but with the Port St. Lucie dateline and subbing in Clover Park for George Steinbrenner Field? It's too early to report anything concrete on this or get any answers. But the view from here is there really isn't any reason why the Mets wouldn't make a massive push for Soto in free agency after this season. The Mets aren't talking about it, at least the people like me, but the industry certainly expects it. Quote, I bet he goes for both. One league executive who knows Mets owner Steve Cohen, but does not work for the team, said of Soto and free agent to be Pete Alonso. The Mets do land Soto. It might be the biggest icon swap in New York baseball since Yogi Berra became a player, coach, and manager in Queens. I would relax on that. Because Soto, if he leaves the Yankees after 1 year, I would not go as far as calling him an icon. I would temper that. And this would far exceed the impact of that long ago Burrow change, because Soto will be a 26-year-old future Hall of Famer in his prime when next season begins. Japanese pitcher Yoshinobu Yamamoto was supposed to represent the first Steve Cohen, House Steinbrenner free agent competition, but that battle failed to fully launch. Despite the Mets' best efforts, they knew by November that Yamamoto was drawn more to the Yankees and Dodgers, and that they were long shot underdogs. I would mention this. This is important to remember. Losing Billy Epler really, and this is my opinion, that really hurt their chances to sign him. Because of the reputation that he has in the game in Japan, because he scouted Japan with the Yankees for all those years. He was so important for the Yankees to bring in, I guess, Masahiro Tanaka years ago. And he brought in Shohei Ohtani. And, of course, last offseason he brought in Kodai Senga. So he had a lot of success convincing these guys to come in and play for his team. And the fact that the Mets lost him to this nonsense with the IL suspension, that really, really hurt the Mets. I mean, it hurt them in their pursuit of Yamamoto, just as an aside. And this thing with Soto, in my view, he's probably going to be looking for about $500 million. at least. Because I can imagine Scott Boras going to the Mets or the Yankees, and really it's only going to come down to 2-3 teams, really. The Mets, the Yankees, the Cubs, and the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers are going to do. They made that big sign for the next few years. It's really going to come down to 3 teams, like I said: the Mets, the Cubs, and the Cubs, and the Mets, the Yankees, and the Cubs. I'll get it right. And the Mets are going to have to look at it in a very smart way. Do they want to sign this guy for $500 million plus have Pete Alonso on this team and sign him? I don't think the money's going to be an issue next offseason, because the fact of the matter is a lot of money's coming off the books. Hopefully we keep our fingers crossed that Verlander doesn't get to 140 innings, because he gets to 140 innings, the Mets are stuck having to pay for him for $17.5 million. But I don't have to tell you how great Soto is. He's one of the best hitters in the game. He's going to have a monster year for the Yankees going into. He's going to get a lot of MVP votes. He is a guy that you put him in the middle of the lineup, you bat him third, you leave him alone. As simple as that. He's as great of a professional hitter as we've seen in a long time. When you hear comps with him as being that of Ted Williams, it tells you how good a player is, how good that player is, how good he is. So I don't have to tell you about the pluses and minuses of him. It's really, do you want to sign him? Like I said, Boras is going to want $500 million. He's not going to get $700 because the other team's going to say to him, look, he doesn't pitch. Okay? But Boras can come back and say, look, he's a better hitter offensively in terms of walking. His average is higher over his career. He's a better hitter than Shohei Ohtani. And you look up the numbers, you'll see it, aside from the power. Now, he would have had a lot more RBIs if he had a better offense down in Washington. But he had a big year last year for the Padres. So that will not be an issue with the Yankees. He's going to hit a lot of home runs and drive a lot of runs. Especially if if Aaron Judge isn't hurt again, he's going to drive him in a lot. So he's got to stay healthy. But anyway, Soto is a player that you want to have on your team. I am a big proponent of him. I didn't think, and I felt this way, that this was a good market this year. It's best to wait a year and go after a big player, and that is the big player in the next offseason. I will say this, and I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it. That would basically temper any kind of anger that Mets fans would have if we lost Pete Alonso to some team like the Mariners, the Cubs, or whomever. I think that would really temper a lot of things. Because then they can, the front office could always say, well, we brought in Juan Soto, and he's younger than Pete, and he's probably going to be here for a long time. And they could always say that. But I keep my fingers crossed that Pete doesn't get traded. And I don't think he's going to get traded this year. But hopefully we re-sign him. Hopefully the Mets re-sign him. And that would be some lineup with him and Soto in that lineup. Because this team, I've been saying this for a few years. I'm tired of saying it. They need another bat in this lineup. And he would be a major bat in that lineup. Also, it does another thing. It kind of clears up a little bit of space in terms of some of the Met prospects. Maybe they can move some of these prospects to bring in some young pitching in this organization, or a big pitcher. Or maybe you move one of these converted infielders that's not going to play in the outfield, because then that spot is set with Juan Soto. It's just a thought, but we'll see what happens as we get. And we got to get the season started. We have to get spring training games started, and that's the most important thing right now. But this is a fun thing to talk about even now. Oh, you let me know what you think about this video. Of course, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.